Drums, please!
Hello, welcome to the Only Game in Town, episode 12, I think. I didn't look it up before we started. We're back. What, 3 weeks off?
Up and about.
About there. Lots happened. We'll go over what's been happening the last few days, because I don't really feel like digging that deep. First thing we'll start with is what we're watching now, which could be the last game of the Rangers' improbable run. I'm surprised I didn't throw there.
Not with Henrik Lundqvist in the fucking goal, baby. Let's go, King Hank!
Hank got so unlucky last game, that poor guy.
Honestly, he really did. And, I mean, the thing is, the Rangers keep on trying to go low on Jonathan Quick, when clearly that's the only place he stays when he plays goalie. Like, they don't really angle it. They're just like, we're going to drive it right into his chest. That's got to go in.
They went with the pepper technique last game, and it didn't turn out too well.
How do you lose on your home ice?
How do you lose 2 overtimes in a row after
How do you
being
play
up
so
2?
well at the Staples Center and then get fucking decimated on your home ice?
New York sports in general?
New York sports, baby.
I don't know. I just think it's terrible that, like, for 2 straight games, they had, like, a 2-goal lead, and they put the brakes on, like, no, we're up 2. We got this, guys. Just coast. And, like, clearly it didn't work the first time. So why would you think it was going to work the second time?
I mean, the Kings are, like, clearly the better team, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But if the Rangers had scored a 3rd goal in the first game, this would be a totally different series.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, not only that, but, like, just, like, looking at the body of work that the Kings have put in, like, this postseason, like, they've made a living off of being down in the 3rd period, either forcing overtime or scoring, like, 18 goals in the 3rd. Like, I saw something like that, like, 2 or 3, or, like, either the last game or the game before, that they outscored opponents, like 13-6 in the 3rd period during the playoffs, which is outrageous.
Well, we're a penalty and a Kreider breakaway goal that how he didn't net is beyond me, away from this series being 2-1. But I mean that goalie interference that they didn't call in the second game is incredible.
Oh, that was some shit. I saw that one.
That was some incredible shit. Henrik Lundqvist is on the ground and the goal is going in, and he didn't fall by himself.
Yeah, the dude's like pinning his right leg down. That was pretty nuts. Not only that, but I mean, I wasn't watching the game earlier than that, but I called that live, and then the announcer said that they called the goalie interference on the other end, like earlier in the game. I'm like, how do they not like keep like symmetry or like parity with that?
I don't know. I like I've said on many of these podcasts, I'm not the biggest hockey fan in the world, and these playoffs have obviously become like my bitch lover at this point. So it's like when I watch these games and like things aren't called, my reactions are like tenfold what a normal Ranger.
You have to be kidding me!
You got it.
By the way, I think we lost Jim. We have a nice profile of him.
Yeah, I see him.
Bottom of the screen there.
But it's funny. Mike, at the last game, I was at Frankie's place with like 20 diehard Ranger fans, and like I've said, like I'm not like I didn't really watch that much during the like I'm a fair weather completely, but at the end of the game when that final goal got scored, I saw a grown man light a cigarette inside Frankie's house and then walk out. his dad's brother sparks a cigarette, says nothing to anybody, and walks out the house. And I was like, that is true fandom to the max.
That like encapsulates everything you would think a diehard fan would be.
Exactly. Like I know my feeling when like one of my big teams loses, and that is just fandom in a whole. But
oh yeah, like whenever one of my teams loses like a big game, it's just won't talk to anybody. We'll go into the room and just maybe drink about a fifth of whiskey.
But I feel like hockey is that one sport that you could make the comeback with.
I'm back, motherfucker.
There he is.
You know, like baseball, you pitch your best pitcher in your closeout game. You know.
Right. It's not like you're going to wheel out a better goal.
Basketball, everyone makes a run. Football.
Jordan, they're not coming back. They're not coming back.
What you get this. I mean, it's not like they played bad in L.A. They played better in L.A. than they're playing in New York.
Yeah, it's just one game at a time, honestly. Because I mean,
Exactly.
the Kings already did it this postseason against the Sharks. They were down 3-0 and they came back and won the series.
Probably football and hockey. No, well, I'm sorry, the other way around. I mean, I'd say football is probably the hardest to come back from.
Oh yeah.
Nah. Yeah. I mean, obviously basketball's the easiest, but
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to basketball. Oh, we got a little fight at the goal there.
put it in.
Oh my.
Jeez.
So CRAMPGATE, what do you guys think of it? Jordan, I know you were struggling with this.
I mean, my original reaction was like, LeBron, bitch, he should die in a ditch. But as I said, like between our like three-way chat, like being from swimming, and Jim knows specifically, I had crippling cramps when I was swimming to the point I was putting like cups of iodized salt into my Gatorade just to get through a practice. So I can understand, and it's like a real thing. I mean, your legs lock up, you know. It's like
Jordan would scream and float on top of the water, and someone would retrieve him and drag him out of the water.
That's true. I'd have to be like pushed into the wall to get out of the pool.
It was usually Kevin just dragging him out of the pool.
You guys didn't get like the hooks or the lassos and just kind of like take him like a dead body?
No, it had to happen too quick or he was going to go down.
And it's funny, it would be like mid-set when I was like doing really well, and then you'd suddenly see my leg jerk like someone being tased, and then both legs would go straight. Just I'd be like, ah. But
I have never seen it
LeBron,
this bad on a power play.
but even so, LeBron's a bitch. He should have played.
Oh, okay. Mike?
As you guys know, I hate him more than many things in the world. But I honestly, it was cramps. Like you've heard every professional athlete's take on it. Like when that shit happens, it happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. And speaking of professional athletes, you know, Jordan just said that you couldn't do it either. So that just like.
Well, I mean, I'm the most professional out of all of them, but
clearly. But anyways.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Was I in the middle of my point, or did you have something to say?
Mike?
I mean, inconvenience is not the right word, but it for him in the stage and that for it to happen and nobody else to get cramps, despite the fact that there was heat, it was like on fire in that building. Like it's very good fodder for the media, but that shit happens. It just happened to happen at that stage.
Yeah, see, I think we're all kind of reasonable about this, and just some people just tore him to shreds, and it's 90 degrees in there, and I know no one else cramped up, but no one else plays 42 minutes a game like he does.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Duncan plays like 28 minutes a game. The rest of the Spurs play like 32 to 35. You know, Wade skipped, all but 5 games in the regular season. I don't know. I just didn't put much stock in it. I didn't think, there's a lot to fucking rip him apart for. I just thought that was a ridiculous one. People were looking for something, it seemed like.
Oh, yeah. They feed off it.
Yeah. So, I have someone very specific in mind, and I'm curious to see what your opinions are. Who's playing the worst in that series?
Ooh.
I have one in mind. I don't think it can be debated, but I want to see what you guys think.
Greg Oden.
Yeah, Udonis Haslem is just having a stinker.
Have you seen their high fives? They're like non-existent. Like, what are they doing?
Why is he even there?
Before Mike just put me in my place right there like a cunt.
I'm sorry.
like a massive cunt, like the biggest cunt I've ever seen.
I thought it was hysterical.
Um,
Am I going too wide here, or are we going
I'm talking about like
off the
old
shoulder?
grandma porn shit.
Jordan, get to your point.
But what
That is the point.
But that is the point. Thank you.
Shut up, Jack.
But what I was gonna say is, I feel like LeBron coming out of that game says a lot about the Heat, since no one could step up. What happened to the two other big three? You know.
And the other Hall of Famer on the court.
There was I forget which radio show I was listening to, but they made a good point. Does it not, with LeBron's free agency coming up, does it not show a lot about the team that he also is on, that when he comes off the court, they still can't do shit?
It's absolutely inexcusable.
It's just an interesting thing, and another interesting point is they interviewed Tony Parker the next day, and when all that bitching was going on about like the Heat, he's like, "Have you ever played in Turkey? You ever played in Budapest? It's like 120 degrees and you're playing a basketball game. Like, grow up."
You ever play hoops in a sauna?
Essentially, hot yoga in a hot yoga studio. They're just playing at 48 minutes.
And my last thing is, my funniest thing is Jonathan Martin trying to make fun of LeBron James.
They just score again? They did.
Goal!
Whee! Oh no, they're up 2-0.
Oh, here it comes.
No,
seriously,
no.
But seriously, Jonathan Martin making fun of fucking LeBron James? Are you
I'm
kidding?
sorry. You know, I understand this high horse that ESPN got on, and everyone was like, this is the bullying that gets out of control. Richie Incognito was fucking hilarious, for one. And number two, Jonathan Martin is a fucking piece of shit. There's nothing else to that. And when you're making fun of the best athlete in the world after you literally threw a hissy fit and got someone fucking fired from their profession because you couldn't take the bullying when you're a fucking professional athlete, I want to strangle the fat bastard.
Did Incognito find a job?
Someone will pick him up. He's too good. I mean, he's a fucking idiot.
I thought he found a job already.
I honestly stopped. I was so sick of listening to that shit that I just
Put it in! See, they're going low on it. Sorry.
Okay, so back to what I was asking. Who's having the worst series? Before we said Greg Oden's bad high fives were.
I mean, we got to circle back to Greg Oden, right?
No, I want a legitimate answer here.
I feel like Greg Oden is the key in this.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean,
I have one very specific person in mind.
why don't you lead off? Because I actually have to think about
Okay. It is indisputably Mario Chalmers.
Mario Chalmers is playing himself right out of a job. I agree with Jim.
He is getting himself fired every time he steps on the court.
I mean, he's good. Him and Bosch are gonna step away at the end of the year.
See, the thing is, Bosch is having himself a great series, though.
But Bosch, if he is smart enough, he's got his 2 championships. He's probably gonna get his 3rd. I mean, I'm sorry. I think the Spurs are gonna win, but obviously we know with LeBron James, anything is possible with that team. But Bosch, at this point of his career, take the money, motherfucker. Like, go.
I don't think he cares. I think he's happy being that the third person averaging like 16, 17 points a game.
But would you call him a Hall of Famer at this point? I think go pat those stats and become a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? He was like, 25 and 11 on the Raptors every year?
Yeah. I mean, around there. The thing is, though, I mean, you look at his couple games, and he's doing good. And like last night, he had 12 touches. He had 12. He touched the ball 12 times.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I were him next year, I'd go get that money.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to leave this year. I mean, if they lose this finals, then I think there's some big things that are going to happen in Miami. I think he will be the first out. If they win, I feel like he's going to play out the rest of his contract and then go do whatever he needs to do. But still, like, a player of that caliber, like, no matter how humble you are, you want to have an impact. I mean, he went 4 for 4 from the field too. He shot well. He just touched the ball 12 times because apparently Dwayne Wade needed to draw more fouls that didn't happen.
That push. Oh
my God!
Duncan had on Dwayne Wade. I I generally don't care which team wins. I don't really have a horse, a dog in the fight. So I'm not a horse in the fight. That'd be ridiculous.
Oh man, let's start horse fights.
I generally don't care, so I don't know. I think I have a relatively unbiased opinion, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? That is outrageous. I mean, I know Tim Duncan generally bitches when he calls them go his way, but that was outlandish.
That was poor. It was poor.
I mean, yeah. that whole team flops more than any other set of people on the planet.
Oh, it's bad.
You know who I think is a huge part of that Miami Heat team and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves? And
Greg Oden.
Well, Greg Oden as well. And I feel like they would be down, 3-0 right now if it wasn't for him. Chris Anderson.
Birdman.
Child porn aside, he
only big presence they have.
That's true.
His addiction to child pornography aside, I agree. He's really reinvented himself on that team.
Okay, speaking of that, did you read the thing that Sherry put up on Facebook, Jordan, about Chris Anderson?
No.
Read it when you get a chance. It is the craziest fucking story I've ever read in my life.
What's it about?
It's about that whole child pornography thing.
I mean, I heard it's not that he didn't actually have child pornography, but
no, not at all.
But for all the things to be set up with, child porn is probably a little bit the highest grade of heroin.
Yeah. And I live in the land where the child porn case happened, and they're just like, that is just so fucked up what happened to him.
Is suspect.
He used to live the next town over from where I live.
Really?
Yeah.
You think they left all the child porn in the basement? You go snatch some of that.
It's called Kitty Porn Dungeon.
Oh, please.
It's weird that they do call it a dungeon, though. A kitty porn dungeon.
It's true.
So can we talk about how...
Where you going? Don't go to Bob's kitty porn dungeon.
It makes you wonder if they have other hot buzzwords for other things. Oh yeah, I'm going to Phil's S&M temple.
Oh God.
Hey, did you hear that? That Fred loves horse porn? We're going to the stable tonight.
He's talking about Grandma Muff and horse porn. I know this is a loose sports podcast, but Jesus, Jordan.
Sorry. I missed you guys.
Timmy's holding a furry orgy. Let's go to the petting zoo tonight.
Oh, God. It's a guinea pig bukkake. All right, moving on. All right.
But by the way, is Mario Chalmers' play not setting them up to now draft Shabazz?
Please don't do that.
Don't do it. They got Norris Cole.
They do have Norris Cole.
I mean, oh, fuck.
He may not fall that far.
God damn it! Keep it 2-0.
I looked away for 5 seconds.
Did they just score?
How did that happen?
It's incredible.
Oh my God! And you didn't have a stick?
By the way, that's my me and Jack laugh all the time when we watch hockey. Our two most fascinating things are the lack of stick or the rule where you can grab the puck out of the air. I don't get that. Because the last game I watched, he got in trouble for passing the puck with his hand. I don't know how you call that rule.
You're supposed to just immediately put it down, I think.
Yeah. You can bat it down.
They don't always immediately. They stick the hand and it goes a different. Whatever. But
I'm sure it's just a judgment call. You held onto it for too long, or whatever the case may be. But
it's like the old fumble rule in football, where you catch the pass, you turn, and you make a hockey move, and then you carry the puck.
Make a hockey move.
By the way, what's your not to change the subject, you're taking away from the leader of this, but who do you think goes top 3 in order? Top 5.
5. Oh, yes.
Well, who's 4 and 5?
An NBA draft thing. We should do that next week so we close to the draft.
I mean,
Who's 4 and 5 though?
The draft is the 26th.
It's Cleveland and then the hell's 2?
Milwaukee and then
Milwaukee and Sixers, and then who's 4 and 5?
Orlando's 4. I forget who's 5.
Jazz, maybe?
Jazz, I think. Yeah, Jazz. Sorry, you're absolutely right. And then the Celtics are 6. I don't know how you don't take Wiggins number 1. I understand everything that Embiid has.
Embiid, Parker going 1, 2, 3 in whatever order, and then
it's going to go Exum to the Orlando, and 5 is going to be
Marcus Smart, maybe.
5 is going to be fucking Aaron Gordon.
I know how much you love him.
Somehow Aaron Gordon's stock has now raised since the time that I've hated him more than anything.
Haven't you heard he's the next Sean Marion?
I've heard he's the next Sean Marion. I've heard a lot of things about him. Sean Marion is the oddest one, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you could just look at this kid's body of work while he was at Arizona. He was, I mean, outside of dunking the basketball, he was one of the least impressive prospects I've ever seen in college basketball.
Yeah. His three-point shooting was abysmal.
Just
for such a big player, he was shooting so many threes towards the end of his stretch in college.
Just like the alarming rate where they would give him the ball and just like it would be ugly. Like unless it was in like transition or a set play, it was ugly when he got the ball.
Ugly. I'm just excited for this class because I know I know a lot of people gave them a lot of shit because they didn't exactly perform like the class of the century, but I think they're going to be good. I think all of them are going to be
a real deep class.
What?
Absolutely.
I said top to bottom. I think it's still a really deep class.
I think it's really deep, and I think it's
very deep.
Yeah. I think for my at least top 3, I think I'm going to go Embiid, Wiggins, Parker though, and then Magic. I think I will take Exum, and then Utah. I'm not.
Well, no, isn't Exum a shooting guard?
No, he's a point guard.
Point guard.
Oh, I thought he was a shooting guard.
They want to move Oladipo to being a true shooting guard.
I can't believe they used him as a point guard. I mean, he was just way underqualified for that position.
I know.
Who was their
poor
point?
Jameer?
Jameer Nelson.
Oh, that's almost as bad as Ray Felton.
Poor Jameer is going to have to go to another team. It feels like he's been with the Orlando Magic
Is the Kings
forever.
coach retarded?
Who?
Is the Kings coach retarded, or can he just straight up not speak English?
His nose is incredible. I want to see him go deep fishing for salmon.
I just don't. He can't call.
I mean, I can't hear the game because I was told to turn it down because it was too loud. But
I'm just looking at him. I can tell he's not enunciating properly. Okay, can we change subjects to the very drunk, very racist, very anti-Semite redneck sitting next to me at the sports bar last night?
But your texts are making me laugh so much.
Oh, yeah.
I have never just stared at my phone harder, hoping he would just fuck off.
You should have recorded that for Barstool.
And the bartender just kept him going. It was horrible. I'm like, dude, shut up. Oh my God! It was.
I mean, for every person that was mad at Donald Sterling, there was another 10 that were like, "Well, he's got to go to point." He's not being too unreasonable. I guess black people aren't allowed a basketball game.
Like, he did nothing wrong. He didn't say anything that was really that offensive. I can't understand why they're all up in arms about this. I'm like, you realize the league is 82% black, right? And he's saying that black people are of lesser value. You're not understanding this.
I'm just laughing at myself thinking of like this small cut of people who saw like the Donald Sterling comments and were like, finally.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree. I feel like there was someone like, oh, he got it out on the table, how brave he is.
He's going to really change now, guys.
Let's make this predominantly black sport as white as possible, you know?
I mean, I was just blown away because, we grew up in the Northeast. It's a relatively tolerant place, and, generally the racist shitheads are smart enough to keep their mouth shut.
Or they say it in such a proper way that's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're able to word it so it doesn't sound as bad, I guess. And I've even traveled to some fucking hick places before. I have never seen blatant racism in such a beautiful, pure form. It was Walter White's crystal meth in solidified racism. It was gorgeous. I mean, it was to be admired, really.
I mean, I still think Shelley Sterling's worse than Donald Sterling, but
oh, absolutely. But she's just trying to get paid.
She's playing the martyr so hard, and she's solidly getting away with it, even though she's probably just as racist as Donald Sterling, if not more. And then had her husband essentially deemed like an Alzheimer's patient to get $2 billion. If we're gonna beat around the bush, known racist. Plays the martyr, gets the team, sells the team.
Shit is fucking ruthless, man.
She's going with what the NBA wants to do, and that's why, she's not getting just crucified for being a racist asshole too.
Yeah, the whole thing is being expedited. Like, obviously the NBA wants to get this off the slate as soon as possible, so she's just playing the role of a.
Put it in.
Let's keep it going.
Jordan, you're like a second and a half behind me.
I know you are. When you saw the goal scored, I was seeing it still fought for. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible because here's the thing: the NBA is being sued for $1 billion. That lawsuit isn't going to start for months after the one that Donald Sterling is going to have with his own wife.
Oh yeah,
because
this could be litigation for years.
Because what's going to happen is Donald Sterling's going to pay a doctor some sort of unbelievable amounts of money to say he's not actually an Alzheimer's patient when he's clearly insane. He's going to find some doctor to be like, no, he's great. He's great.
He's not a super great.
I want to know what was running through his mind, like the number of times he rolled on his decision to either sell the team and be cool with it or want to fight it. Like what did he wake up every day you know what? Nah, I'm gonna keep the team.
Nah, that ain't me, dog.
Do you think
that dude did the Rothacker flip flops so many times?
Do you think he hired two separate groups of yes men for the decision? So one day he went to the boardroom gonna sell the team, guys. Oh, that's a great idea, Donald. Good idea. Woke up the next day, thought he was going to the same room of people. I'm all right, so where are we on the sale of the team? Donald, that's a terrible idea. What are you thinking? Oh, shit.
Sue.
Donald, we talked to Shelley. You're going to have to go to the doctor, Donald.
Well, we just got off the phone with your ex-wife, and she said you had a small penis. We're going to court.
I mean, can we talk about the greatest PR move? Second to saying that Magic Johnson was only known for AIDS. Going to the predominantly black church all by himself.
No, he brought
bodyguards in the car.
He brought bodyguards.
And then standing up and waving. That's my favorite part. He's the fucking Bill Clinton of the predominantly black church.
Did you see the thing on Barstool where all right, this is enough for me. He's not racist. Dude, I can't spend an hour and a half in white church. Never mind 2 hours in fucking black church on a Saturday. It was outrageous.
When he was in black church, do you think there was ever any point where to himself he just nodded wow, that's a great point. They raised a great opinion with that sermon right there.
There's definitely a point in that where he's
just as much as there was
right now.
Just as much as there was any black guy that was sitting there going, I mean, he loves black church. He must love black people.
The worst part is he totally swayed some people. He absolutely swayed.
No, he didn't. If he swayed anyone, he swayed some other white guy who was on the edge of him. Well, I thought he was racist, but he goes to a black church from time
he
to time.
pays a lot of black guys.
And you just know he was either one of the guys with the offertory basket, either giving communion, offertory basket, or at the organ, just right before each psalm, just looking at him, going like, "I got you, Donald." Like just running something back on the organ for him.
Puts a rubber band around a stack of $1 bills. I heard black people like small bills.
Oh God!
He just drops like a G-pack of yellow tops into the freaking offertory basket.
Just try to.
WMD.
I heard that WMD is the bomb.
Oh, Sant'Angelo.
Where are you guys in the wire, by the way?
Oh, I've been dragging my feet. I just finished episode 8 of season 2. I'm still on Sabaka.
I'm
not hearing Frank Sabaka.
Let's go, shitbird. He is the worst character in that show. Second worst.
Ziggy is clearly the worst character.
Ziggy is the worst. There's no debating that.
I just got to the point where he bought the duck, and I forgot about that, and I was really upset about it.
He's such a moron. He's just such a fucking asshole that entire time. I think I found my number 3 most hated character in The Wire, and I was talking to Jordan about it.
Who's that?
The Deacon.
What? JB Smooth's father?
What's that?
He looks like an old JB Smooth.
He does. I don't know. I just find him annoying as fuck. I don't know why.
He looks like Bruce Bowen got cross DNA'd with Droopy.
He needs a bow tie.
I don't know. I just find him so goddamn annoying.
I don't mind him at all. I mean, he's bringing the youth to Cuddy in the boxing gym. He's got good intentions.
He's good with Buddy and
But
Cuddy.
he's so damn annoying about it.
Bunny.
And he's not pushing his politics really.
Well, what do you mean he's not pushing his politics? He does nothing but push him at Cuddy for like the entire 3rd season.
Yeah, but he knew all about what Buddy Colvin was doing with Amsterdam, and he didn't do shit about it. He was cool.
He gave Buddy shit about it too.
Yeah, but he didn't do nothing about it. He didn't rat on him.
All they said is that they need to hand out condoms. That's the key.
Yeah.
With the porta potties.
I mean, I'm like Magic
programs.
Johnson wasn't concerned about AIDS.
I don't like him. He's my number 3.
Well, Jim, you got to deal with him. He's in the show for another couple seasons.
I know. And the fact that Marlo doesn't die by the end of The Wire is just outlandish. Outlandish.
Dude!
I like
Dude, Jack is sitting right here.
Oh, whatever.
This is some BS.
He dies,
So
Jack.
So Marlo doesn't die.
Let me tell you about that new character. Comes in season 5.
I've already told him that McNutty dies in a threesome.
Oh, no, that's such a rough scene, dude.
Oh, it's horrible.
with Herc and Kima.
And that bottle of Jack stuck in Kima's ass. Oh. Damn it! It was supposed to be Jameson. Son of a bitch. That would have been more believable.
There's just blood, pus, and bourbon everywhere. It's really messy.
Could you imagine that's how Kima died? She survived that number of gunshots in season 1 with that bottle of Jack in her butt. That was the killer.
So, well, for God's sakes, get it out of there.
I heard that's like the number 6 cause of death in B-more.
That's what I hear.
Shark and wax and rectum.
All right, so we can do this now, or we can do this next episode. I'm not sure if I'm feeling it now, but we can definitely do it if you want. I'll let you guys call. So we're gonna play devil's advocate, you guys versus me. Why I should hate LeBron James? Or do you want to do this next episode?
Wow. I could go on for hours.
See, here's the thing: is I know why people don't like him, and there's definitely some shit about him I definitely don't like. But overall, I do generally like him, and you two fucking hate him, but you're smart enough to at least realize how good he is, so you can at least appreciate watching him play basketball.
Jim, if he was on the Bulls, he'd be like the 8th man at best. He's not that good.
He'd be getting garbage minutes off the bench.
He'd be below DJ Augustine.
He'd be carrying Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s gym bag to and from away games.
I heard he gives rim jobs to Taj Gibson before games.
Oh dear.
Every game?
I didn't know that Todd did that.
Every
He
game.
flies to
He just
Chicago
likes
just
Chicago.
to Todd gives it a rim job, then flies back to Miami.
What a weird role he'd have on the team.
Guys, I'll be back like 10 minutes before tip-off. I gotta go rim out Taj Gibson, then I'll be back.
Guys,
He's got a personal trainer in there with him.
All right, do we want to do this now, or do we want to do this?
we can stay for next week.
Because I feel like that could be a large portion of an episode.
Yeah, we can save that shit for next week.
It's nice to be back with you guys now that you rehired me.
You're a special guest, didn't I say that at the beginning of the show?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
No. We want you for the color commentary of Jack in the background.
See, we want Jack, but we don't want to be paying Jack's salary.
Yeah, I can't be having that shit. You know how much I had to sign Mike for? It was outlandish.
You know, you want the
Wait,
best.
Mike got a bigger signing bonus than I did?
It was like a Pujols contract. I sign him and he fucking breaks his leg.
You guys got.
Oh!
I have a modest deal.
Jordan signed for the veteran minimum. I was the splashy free agent.
I'm the Al Harrington. I signed for the max deal. Clearly didn't deserve it.
You know what Max Deal is working out, though? Al Jefferson.
AJ's doing well.
I mean, he was a dude who clearly signed for the money. I mean, no one goes to the Hornets, Bobcats for, you know...
I hope Lance
reason
Stevenson
but
does
money.
the Bobcats.
You hope Lance Stevenson does?
Yeah.
I do not.
He'd be a good addition to the Nuggets.
I think anyone would be a good addition to the Nuggets.
I mean, he'd make a very fun backcourt with Ty Lawson.
He's going somewhere. He ain't staying with the Pacers.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, hell no.
Larry Bird's saying all the right things, but he's kicking him off so fast.
So fast. The fastest anyone could be possibly kicked off.
You think he's gonna blow in his ear on the way out?
Oh, I had one thing to bring up, and I keep forgetting it. It keeps coming to me, and then we bring something else up, and I just totally forget it, and then...
Was it Kima's?
Can we talk about how... We're not talking about Kima getting a bottle of bourbon stuck in her ass anymore. How the Miami Heat fans are, hands down, the best fans in all of sports. I mean, just golf claps all around. Jordan golf claps.
They care about their team from the beginning. We're talking about 20 years in Heat fans.
I mean, they get there early.
They
stay for like post-game interviews.
People that lived and died by Alonzo. People that live and died by Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway, and Anthony Mason.
How can we forget Glenn Rice?
Just live and died by that team.
Oh,
I'm curious how many of them actually know that Shaq was on their team at one point. I'm going with like
people that feel like.
I'm giving it
people that don't know that Jones has actually been on their team for like 8 years at this point.
They're still trying to figure out who the hell Udonis Haslem is.
Guys, why don't we trade Udonis Haslem?
They're awful.
People wear a Butler jersey and they're like, I don't know who Butler is.
Oh my God, that's a throwback right there. Or Smush Parker, Jay Williams or Jason Williams.
Fucking Rajwell Butler, my favorite player to ever play for the Heat. All he did was just sit on the line. Him and Damon Jones just shot threes. They let Dwayne Wade slash to the basket and Shaq play in the post, and they just sat there and they were Ray Allen if they had talent.
Sitting on the arc drinking lemonade, waiting for a pass. Yeah, no, they're just. And it's infuriating because
they're horrible.
And like if you speak to them, like they think they know their shit and they defend them like tooth and nail, and then like it's awful to talk to them. Like I work with a kid, and he just defends them all the time. It's like no.
You know someone who's an actual Heat fan?
I mean, I'd say Heat fan anytime you talk about anybody with air quotations. But yeah.
I feel like if you said
curious how that
if you said Eddie Jones to them, they'd have no clue who the fuck you were talking about. Just not even a clue.
A lot of them don't know who Alonzo Mourning is.
Who were your all-stars before Dwayne Wade and Shaq?
When Shaq was on our team?
And I just love how they all get there early before the game starts and they're not blowing coke in the bathroom, halfway through the first quarter.
Yeah, it's great.
No, I like the button-up whites in the first two rows of the audience. That's my favorite. Because let me tell you, there's never been a sporting event where I've been like, let me throw on the button-up white. Let's see how this looks. I can work with this.
Did you see the woman courtside who danced after every Heat score?
No, I'm glad I didn't.
The most, oh my, I have never wished for like a light from the rafters to come down and impale someone more. Just all white, wearing a hat, and just on the side of the court after every single time they got a basket. It was,
It's awful. Even if I'm like
terrible.
fully invested in the game, the most like a routine lamp is going to get you, and I'm cheering for my team, just kind of a clapping. All right.
But the thing was, like, I can't believe she didn't get the Heat a technical, because she came on the court like Kevin Ollie length every time just to dance around, and then went back to her seat. Like, it was unbelievable that a ref didn't turn around and just be like, there's nothing I can do about this.
Number 11, you're out of the
Get on
game.
the line. They're shooting free throws.
By the way, I know this is completely off topic, but I got to throw a little Knicks conversation in. I'm very disappointed in the Derek Fisher hire.
Oh yeah,
I was actually gonna.
I completely slipped my mind. So Jordan, I'm sure I know what you're gonna say. So we'll let Mike go first, since this isn't his team. What do you think of it as an unbiased outsider?
I mean, I'm kind of biased. I guess I have a long-term possible investment on your team that could be opting out on June 23rd. I think it's a great. I think that Carmelo's not gonna like the hire, and I think he's gonna opt out, and then sweet home Chicago. Loved it. Absolutely loved the hire.
How do you feel about it?
What was that, Jim? I'm sorry.
How do you actually feel about it from a Knicks standpoint of?
It's a clear puppet hire for Phil Jackson. Now he can kind of mold.
Oh yeah.
Now he can mold Fisher the way he wants. He can. I mean, obviously Fisher's going to listen to Phil because the only way he's known Phil as a coach. So Phil's going to impart wisdom to him, and he's not really going to change or manipulate or say no to anything because it's fucking Phil Jackson. So it's a guy he can use as a puppet. So he doesn't physically have to sit on the sidelines the whole time, but he can proxy coach this team by himself, pretty much. I think that's what the entirety of the hire was.
Jordan, why do you think it's such a bad hire?
I mean, this is going to be a small rant, Jim. I'm sorry ahead of time.
But
the first point I want to make is you got to hire a coach who can deal with a. It's not the Nets. The Nets are like a strictly veteran team. Every player on that team is a veteran.
Basically,
in the starting lineup alone, Deron Williams, veteran. Joe Johnson, veteran. Paul Pierce, veteran. Kevin Garnett, veteran. Fucking Brook Lopez is getting up there at this point. I know he's played minimal seasons, but he's getting up there, All these guys are veterans. You got a veteran team who's learning from a person.
Veteran, even though he has,
What?
Even Livingston, he's only played like 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, Livingston's been around, a 1?
Yeah, he's been around for long enough.
I mean, that team is based on it's Jason Kidd's education with just as much education coming from players like a Paul Pierce or Kevin Garnett. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong on that, no.
Derek Fisher is taking over the most immature team in basketball.
Yes.
I'm just saying that is the most immature team in basketball. To throw a guy in there who's 39, just played a season, I just feel like you're not going to get the respect that Jason Kidd is obviously clearly a better player in his time than Derek Fisher ever was. Yeah. But I just feel like Derek Fisher's not going to get the respect because they want him to be a disciplinarian, and I feel like if you're going to do that, get a coach who's an established disciplinarian, like like a Stan Van Gundy going to Detroit. He's gonna go in there and just fucking be like, "Hey, Josh Smith, shut the fuck up. Stop taking threes. Get in the post where we were fucking drafted for." I can't see.
Not to cut you off. That's why I love the Stan Van hire, because he's gonna fucking crack skulls.
Cracks codes, and I just feel like I think Derek Fisher is an extremely smart basketball person. I mean, his basketball IQ is off the charts. I mean, the man.
Do you think he's fit for a head coaching job? Not necessarily the Knicks, but do you think he could coach in the NBA as a head coach right now on some other team?
Well, here's the thing, Jim. They want him to be Spoelstra. They want him so bad. Because here's the thing.
Why in 2 years can't he be what Spoelstra is
Can I tell you the reason he can't be Spoelstra? Because Derek Fisher, has never been a coach before. Eric Spoelstra was on the bench with Pat Riley before he was an NBA coach. I think that matters all the huge while in the world. I think Eric Spoelstra actually took the time to learn behind Pat Riley, and even though Eric Spoelstra is a really bad coach, Pat Riley is literally like Pat Riley might as well be on his shoulder, being like, Eric. I just feel like at this point Derek Fisher's
Pat Riley's like what's his name, Rick Pitino yelling at his son from the sideline at the NIT game.
Exactly. I don't like, and also Phil Jackson had to make, and Mike makes a great point, he had to make a hire to keep Carmelo, and I don't think that was the hire to keep Carmelo.
No. I don't think it's a bad hire myself. I think he learned how to get a team to win. I mean, granted, it was under Phil Jackson, but he learned how to get a team to win with one of the most immature players of all time. I mean, Kobe is an unbelievable competitor, but he is also one of the most immature assholes on the planet.
I can't give it to you, Jim. I can't, because
I don't think it's that bad of a hire. I don't think it's as bad as you say. I don't think it's going to work out like Jason Kidd worked out on the Nets, but like Mike said, I think it's more of a proxy so that Phil can just coach through Fisher and get him to do what he wants.
Oh, I mean, I completely agree. That's
this
exactly
team is not going to be the same in 2 years.
100% what I agree. That's 100% what Derek Fisher's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the conduit to fucking Phil Jackson. But like I said, I think the difference is 100%. And I hate Spoelstra. And I think Spoelstra's probably one of the most useless coaches in the league. But the only thing that he does is he's the conduit to Pat Riley. But he actually was a coach under Pat Riley before he took the team over. And I think that means the world.
The thing I have a problem with on this is his motivation skills. Like, I know that he's been on some big teams. He was on the Spurs when they won. He was on the Lakers when they won. He was on the Thunder with Durant. And he gets started as a good veteran presence. So like Tim Hardaway is going to benefit. The young guys are going to the other two young guys or whatever you guys have on that team are going to. Yeah, but the older guys are the ones I'm worried about, and the free agents are the ones I'm going to worry about. Because I mean, if you think about it, when he was a good veteran presence and a good motivator on that team, he had muscle. Like, if he was speaking to someone about something and they didn't like it, there was Kobe glaring at him. On the Thunder, if he was saying something, there was Durant to back him up. On the Spurs, there was Duncan, there was Parker to back him up. So, and I'm not saying that he's like soft. I'm just saying like I don't think he's proven as like a motivator. So how is he going to get like a free agent? And let's say you bring back J.R. Smith. How the fuck is he going to wrangle J.R. Smith and get him to buy in if a guy like a Mike Woodson, who Melo fully backed, couldn't get him to buy in?
Mike, I'll go one further with you. Is what do you call the point guard? What is the point guard's main role?
He's like the floor general.
He's the extension of the head coach. He's the extension of the head coach on the basketball court. Derek Fisher was the starting point guard for what?
5 championship
maybe
teams?
4 years. I mean, I'd have to check that. But as the registered starting point guard,
yeah,
Jason Kidd has been the court leader on the Mavericks, the Suns, the Nets, and then the Mavericks, and then the Knicks. And to say that he was not a bigger presence than Raymond Felton when he was on that team you're lying to yourself. The man,
No one would ever make
man
that
has
statement.
a basketball IQ of probably top 10. I mean, what
as far as his understanding of now.
Jordan,
I mean,
everything you're saying is true. I'm just having a hard time taking it serious.
What? What?
Everything you're saying is true. I'm having a hard time taking it serious because you were so adamant about Jason Kidd being the greatest point guard of all time.
I know he's not the greatest point guard of all time, Jim. Even though I do think he's the greatest of all time. But what is that terrible noise?
Oh, it's my finger running across the computer. I apologize. I'll stop.
Gosh darn it, Mike.
Gosh darn it.
But
Let's just end now.
I think that Jason Kidd had the prerequisite to get his team to the playoffs this year. I think he had because you got to have the respect of the veterans. I don't know if a Melo or an Amari has the respect. I mean, Tyson. I don't know if those players have Derek Fisher's respect. You know.
I bet Tyson would.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things he has.
Tyson might be the first one to leave off that team, by the way.
I mean, he might, but if he stays, he's going to be the first one to back up Fisher, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the things he does have going for him is he was like the what was he, like the players representative for the players union for a couple years. So
yeah.
he's been in the mix before. I'm just not sold on people like totally buying into him. Like I'm sure like Phil will come down and bang assist, and Phil doesn't do that. He'll probably just give people some books and light a candle. But eventually they might. But I just on court during games in the heat of battle, I don't know how people are going to get behind him without. I don't know.
I know you wouldn't pick necessarily that, but if you had to pick one player immediately out of the NBA to coach a team right now, who would it actually be?
Luke Walton. No, I honestly don't know. I mean,
Fisher would be at the top of my list, and I'm not saying that you have to hire people right out of the rarely.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with that, but I think part of it might be the fit for New York. Like, I mean, what's left on that roster for him to actually make something of? I mean, at least when Jay Kidd took over, he had Darrell Williams, Joe Johnson, fucking Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett to deal with. Like, that's not bad.
No. Come on, man. He has Bargnani. What's that?
No? You don't think
Andre Miller would be a...
I think Andre Miller is going to be highly sought after when he gets out of the league.
If he ever gets out of the league, I feel like that guy's still going to be dribbling his ass into the paint too.
Fuck Andre Miller.
Oh, he'll still put up his 6 to 8 a game with 4 assists and just be like the consummate professional.
He's just going to look mad crafty doing it. I actually like watching him play. He's so crafty. Like that word might get overused with veterans too much, but he like embodies the word. Like he's just some of the shit he does is just so like it's like schoolyard shit. It's just hilarious.
So before we end, I don't think we covered this because I don't think we've had a show since it got released. Your boy Joe got first team All NBA.
Yeah. He sure did. It's funny because I saw like the text to the release about it. And I was like, oh, it's first team All NBA. I obviously he got that. And then I reread it. I was like, oh shit, he got first team All NBA as opposed to All Defensive. I was like, oh my god. I thought it was All Defensive. I misspoke, but yeah.
I mean, the gentleman was a magician with the basketball this year, rebounding, assisting.
He was the best passer on that team this year.
Oh, we ran the offense through him once we realized that nobody else could front it. Like we would put him on the foul line and people would just throw inlet passes and he'd work it through. It was great.
Hey Mike.
Yeah.
Can I throw a quick thing to you that I saw on Grantland today? Not to get back to Lance Stevenson.
Yeah.
But how about Lance Stevenson to the Bulls?
I would like that. I think there's enough to keep him level-headed, but I actually would like that. He could function as a 1 or a 2, which would allow either Derrick Rose to play off ball or Derrick Rose could play with the ball in his hands if he starts at the 2-guard position. But
I mean, the point that Zach Lowe brought up, because I don't know if you've read that article yet on Lance Stevenson on Grantland. I think Zach Lowe is a terrific basketball writer.
I try and read all the stuff. I wasn't around a computer much. Did it come out today?
It came out probably I think Monday maybe.
I haven't been on Grantland.
But he posed the point because it doesn't look like Jimmy Butler's going anywhere.
No.
How about Jimmy Butler and Lance Stevenson playing defense?
Terrifying.
Terrifying. That was, by the way, that was the exact word he used. Terrifying.
Especially if we have Taj and Joe rotating down low, it doesn't matter if Derrick Rose is like 60% at that point. Like, it's going to be really tough to score on us.
But could you imagine? Because Lance Stevenson is an above average defender.
Oh yeah.
And Jimmy Butler's locked down.
I think this coming year he'll get the respect of like an Iguodala or Luol Deng as far as on ball defense.
But then you have the best defender in the NBA down low.
But his 2 points were Lance Stevenson, Jimmy Butler defending, and then have because Lance Stevenson's actually pretty good, like handling a basketball. Like it wouldn't all depend on Derrick Rose as soon as he gets back. But.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It'd be great because we could run Derrick off ball. He doesn't have to play more than 30 minutes a game starting off, which would be fantastic because he definitely needs to shake a lot of rust. I actually I read there was one several months ago that talked about the potential. They were talking about like potential free agents. And Lance was one of them. They mentioned the Bulls like in passing, and I thought about it more as I watched them. I was like, "Oh shit, that'd be fucking awesome if we got him." The only problem is I feel like we might overpay for him, which would definitely hinder us in the Carmelo thing.
I mean, you have all the cap space in the world, though.
Not good. I mean, we're getting rid of.
You have the cap space to sign a max player.
We do, but I don't think we get. Maybe. That'd be another frightening combination of.
I think Kevin Love ends up in LA.
I think so too. I'm still holding out hope that Melo is gonna fall our way because we just need another dynamic scorer. Like if we get Lance, our defense would be a lot better, but our offense would be exactly where it was like this year.
Alrighty, well let's do rough go. End it off. I didn't want to have one to start off with, or
I'm woefully underprepared for this segment.
Come on, guys. It's gotta be in the back of your mind. Am I starting it off?
Yep.
I mean, mine's obvious. I already talked about him. Mario Chalmers. I think he went 0 for 6 with 0 points, 4 fouls, 5 turnovers, and just was. They were basically playing 4-on-5 when he was on the court. And like I said, he's playing himself out of a job. I've never seen someone look like they honestly couldn't play at the college level, playing at the pros. That's how bad he looks.
He's getting greedy. He's getting real greedy. Playing a hot potato with the basketball. The second it touches his hands, he's just firing it up. Mario, what are you doing?
I have one, but in reality, it's not a rough go for him, and he's not someone we would ever really talk about. But as a New York sports fan, I think the Mets are one of the worst teams in the world. As I think
just in general, leave it at that.
How there's actual real Nets fans out there is like my feeling on how there's actual like real Islanders or Jets fans out there. I just assume that everyone roots for the Yankees, the Giants, and the Rangers, and the Knicks. But Chris Young, I don't know if you know who that player is. He signed instead of signing Nelson Cruz, who's killing it right now.
Probably back on the juice.
Probably back on the juice, but he's killing it right now. Instead of signing Nelson Cruz, they went after Chris Young for $7 million a year, which is far too much to play a player like Chris Young. And with that $7 million that they could have given to Nelson Cruz, because Nelson Cruz got $6 million, a former All-Star, former 40 home run hitter got $6 million. Chris Young is batting 196. Chris Young is batting 196 with, I think at this point, 2 home runs. I think was the stat line. You're gonna have to check me on that. But 196 when you're making more than the most home runs hit right at this point. Outfielder, you fucked up. The Mets are a joke. I'd give the whole Mets franchise as the having a rough go. But
I think I'm going to go currently and potentially in the future. I got to go with King Heinrich because he had such a phenomenal playoffs until the Stanley Cup, and like it's not like he's even doing that bad. His defense is kind of failing him. But you know, if they lose this in like 4 or 5 games, the whole thing is going to roll back on him, being like, oh, you know, he couldn't hold up in the third period, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's going to roll back on him if they lose, and it sucks because he doesn't deserve that.
except for Ryan fucking McDonough, holy shit, the man's a genius in defense. But
Yeah, but I think more on Brad Richards and Rick Nash than Lundqvist, but that's just me.
Jim,
But
Jim,
I could
you were
definitely see people
so
trying to spin it on the Lundqvist.
Jim, you were so 100% correct. Brad Richards and fucking Rick Nash have been for how much money they're making, they are abysmal.
Awful.
Once again, I have to reiterate that I don't know a ton about hockey, but I know how much those players are making, and I know that who Rick Nash was traded for. It's just I don't know.
Awful. Alrighty. So we'll pick it up next week, and we'll just do this every time there's a Rangers game. So hopefully they can win the Stanley Cup if they win this game. Because I'm superstitious.
See you all.
By the way, boys, it's nice being on the team again.
Good to have you back, man.
I'm glad you decided to push off your hot dating schedule, Jordan.
Hey, me and Molly Ringwald had to get it.
I hope so. She must be horrible looking at like 56 now. Alrighty.
Oh, and by the way, Mike, you're still a cunt for calling me out, but
that was the highlight of the show. All right, bye-bye.
goodbye.
Play hook! Play hook!
Play hook, fuck!
Play hook!